Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Haygood. The weather has cooled. We are officially out of 3-digit temperatures. I feel like I shouldn't have said that because now I jinxed herself and something crazy is going to happen. But regardless, November tis the season for Scottsdale season 2 officially start. We had the Scottsdale Polo Championship going on a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. We have the Waste Management Open coming up. We have Thanksgiving. We have Christmas at the Princess and all the events around here. And so much that's going on, but we still have time for our two favorite men of Scottsdale. We have Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance and Dr. Rob DeVito from Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry at the table with me. We were just talking about how crazy busy everything is. And to add on top of everything, Jeremy, you're opening a third location.
Yeah,
So
pretty
huge
excited.
congrats.
November 1, we officially open in Carefree. So we're going to own North Scottsdale, which I love. But yes, we're super excited.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
So don't know how many listeners go out to Carefree, but I'm learning a lot about the town. I like it.
It's a really cute area, and where you're going in that little downtown circle area is very popular.
I didn't realize people fly in to see this sundial like it's the world's largest sundial.
Right.
But every time I'm there, they're taking pictures and
I love it. Well, and let's think about it. There's not many more places to build houses here in North Scottsdale, so we are like going more up into that area. So it's going to be building up for you guys.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff that's being repurposed and redone there. Good restaurants. I mean, same thing that happened to Scottsdale and Frank Lloyd Wright 20 years ago.
Fair.
It's all moving.
That's fair.
So, and there's a lot of rooftops there. A lot of stuff going on.
Beautiful, beautiful views out there. We actually have some friends that go to school here in Scottsdale. We play baseball with them, and they just bought up in Carefree.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the land you can get up there, and with a lot of non-HOA stuff. So it's a tight knit community. It's a little different. There's no mail service. You got to go to the P.O. box and stuff like that. So it has that old town feel a little bit, but you're still you're really in North Scottsdale. I mean, it's our neighbor.
I agree.
The more peaceful North Scottsdale.
The quiet one.
Right? Yeah, there is that. You know what? I do have to turn down my music when I drive through there because there's
How
a decibel
loud is your
level.
music,
No, I'm just saying.
Jerry?
I just saw that sign. I'm
bumping.
like, every time I'm like,
Turn down that jazz music. Speaking of old towns, Dr. Rob, you just got back from a huge international dentist where you were a keynote speaker, were you?
Yeah, I was.
And Old Town, Italy, the original home for you and your dad?
Yeah, it was a fantastic trip. Went up there for the conference, but we also dovetailed that into a family trip as well. So we were able to take the kids during their break at school, and they missed some school, but
Worth it.
It was absolutely worth it. The teacher said it was good. Got to give a shout out to my staff, my crew, my team back at the office for making sure that they were holding the fort down. So Ashley, Sarah, Sharon, and Heather, they did a wonderful job of making sure the patients were still being taken care of while both of the doctors were out of town. The conference went wonderful right in Rome. We were able to not only give the keynote speaking, but we also did a workshop there too for all these international dentists that flew in from all over the world. So
What an opportunity of a lifetime for you.
it was a bucket list thing that I got to check off. I mean, not only did I get to go back to see a lot of family, but I got to also do a speaking tour, for lack of a better term, for dentistry, for what I do. It was a really, really fun time.
I love that. Jeremy, you got some travel in this month as well.
did a little bit of travel. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Like to be on a world tour, right? As a dentist sitting next to me. But ours was more pleasure. But I tell you what, there's something about coming back here and coming back to Arizona and the United States, for that matter, that there's just nothing like it.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all
I like
need a reality check.
traveling, but I like coming back.
It was nice to be away, but I'm so glad I'm back home in Scottsdale, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, when I left, it was triple digits. When I came back, we're not in triple digits anymore. So it was a very peaceful return.
We did that for you, Rob.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
We
appreciate
suffered that last week of it for you.
Grazie tutti.
We did some travel in the Northeast. We went into the Berkshires, took my kids to New York City for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And my son fell in love with it. He's ready to move to the Greenwich Village. So he's like starting at the top.
Yeah. Real affordable.
Totally. He was like, I love it here. And I was like, great. You just had a $20 ice cream. Let's see if you can afford. It was great, but us too. Like I had to go find a jacket here in Scottsdale to take up there, and I had a problem. Like I went to 4 stores and couldn't even find a jacket. I was like, but I got plenty of bathing suits if anybody needs something. I too enjoyed the cooler temps and came back here. It was great. We had a huge family wedding. And it was just nice to be together and to get out of town. But we got home after 10 days, and I was like so ready for my bed. And there's nothing like Scottsdale. I was excited to get back to my community and my people here, which is what we're going to talk about today. So we have Fabulous Arizona founder Cynthia Sassi with us today. She started this huge media all about Fabulous Arizona and talking about how great it is. We've talked about this on the podcast plenty of times before. We've been talking about it with everything that's coming up. So, Jeremy, what are some of your favorite things that are going to start coming up here in the coming months?
You know, I feel like life is on fast forward right now.
I bet.
So it just feels like there's so much going, and it just came out of nowhere, really, in October. So November, I mean, we got the Christmas at the Princess starting out, which I, that kind of kicks it off for us.
Yeah.
Like I really, we're a part of that this year. So we're sponsoring that. So we're happy to be partnering with them a little bit. And then, driving down Hayden, I got to say, I was driving at night. There was a sporting game going on, and I was like, when did we put a drive-in movie theater in Scottsdale? And it's DraftKings. So I'm super excited about checking out DraftKings. And with that, you start thinking, well, we have Barrett-Jackson, then we have Phoenix Open. So there's just a lot of stuff going on here.
I love
Waste Management Open, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what about
really,
you?
October for Halloween is when the start of everything wonderful that starts to happen for Scottsdale. And just as Jeremy said, DraftKings is going to be the place to go now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they put up their own red stoplights there. Like, I'm impressed. Yeah.
It's going to be the place to meet, the place to bring your family, the place to do all of those other things that you wanted to do, not on Indian reservation.
Yeah.
So,
Rob, are you the type of guy that like brings your kids to Las Vegas and stuff?
Yeah, he's like, yes.
There are occasions where I do need to do that.
Like, let's just let this one be for, like, let's just go adults for a little bit, and then we'll bring our families there.
You check it out first.
Check it out first. Make sure.
You have to make sure it's kid-friendly, so you go check it out first.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then you bring the family down there, yes.
2 totally different cities in that way, though. Same place, different vacations.
Absolutely.
Totally. Isn't everything, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
One's a
is.
vacation, the other's a trip.
That's exactly it.
There you go.
That's it. Rob, you and your family always go big for Halloween. Do tell us, what was this year's costume?
We were Elf on the Shelf. We came a little bit early to make sure that all of the boys and girls knew that Santa was watching.
Okay.
So, yeah, we went family Elf on the Shelf this year.
Did you have to start the whole process then early? Like he's now visiting?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
Oh God, no.
Gosh.
Yeah, absolutely not. But this Elf on the Shelf had a beard.
Okay.
So some of the neighbors
It's
were
off
looking
season.
weird.
It's off season.
Yeah,
So
we'll shrink back down. We'll be okay.
I can't wait till the social media posting on this one.
That's my next one. I got you. We'll put it out there. That's one thing I never ever got my kids into, and it's the best decision I ever made as a parent.
You never did that?
Absolutely not.
You don't have that 2 a.m. you wake up going,
No.
I forgot.
I forgot.
My kids have asked for it a lot, but I totally, we are a dual household in that we celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas. So this is where I really pull that Jew card.
Right.
And we can't do it because we're really Jewish right now.
Gotcha.
There's no Elf on the Shelf. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not a fun parent like that.
Yes, you are.
I am in other ways, but not that. That is just way too much work.
It is a lot of work.
And I
yes.
work hard enough to be a mom. I'm not adding.
What about
to
like
my plate.
advent calendars?
That I do.
Yeah, I do that.
That's easy because it's
That's
like,
easy,
yeah,
yes.
you get a piece of candy, or I typically do the Lego one, so
Legos,
that you
the
have
Lego one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have an activity
Totally.
for the night. So 100% advent calendar because they get to do it all. I don't have to do anything.
Right.
I did forget to buy one in time last year, so I did pay premium price. So I've already on top
Hey,
of that.
just remember, there are advent calendars for adults too. And I will tell you that my wife got me an advent calendar that was whiskeys.
Yeah. Costco has some great
I saw
ones.
the wine one at Costco.
Yeah,
that
they
one
have-
always sells out.
They have a beer one at Costco now, too. There are adult
Fantastic.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll think about that for myself.
Yeah, sometimes those dark Eastern beers that are like I
It's
don't
too
think
much.
they're made for like West Coast guys. I really don't.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, they do because they get that very German heavy beers almost in it. Yeah.
Totally.
I can do that. Well, we all love what's coming up, so thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule. Congratulations, Dr. Rob, on your huge accomplishment being the keynote speaker at the International Dentist Conference, and to you too, Jeremy, for your huge expansion.
Thank you to everyone that supports us. I mean, obviously, we're a team here, so thank you.
That's awesome. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have Cynthia Sassi of Fabulous Arizona. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Let's face it, we're one of the luckiest people here to live in one of the beautiful cities of Scottsdale, Arizona. Especially now that the temps have dropped, we get to spend late nights outside. I've finally put on some sweatpants I'm so excited about, and the city is thriving with events, parties, and more. One person that knows how fabulous this city actually is none other than Cynthia Sassi of Fabulous Arizona. Cynthia started the online publication Fabulous Arizona back in 2010. After years of dedication, determination, and hard work, the site blew up and everyone is now looking for things to do on her site. Cynthia is now more than just Fabulous Arizona and is growing nationally to show how great really our country is. And today, Cynthia is here to talk about how to stick to your goal, slow and steady growth, and of course, her favorite places here in Arizona. So Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us at the table today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We have been on a couple panels together before. It's kind of how we got connected, which I love about this community is it's really so small, so supportive of one another and really just help each other to grow, which is really what I want to talk to you about. So talk to me about your background, how Fabulous Arizona, the idea started, 13 years ago.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. I'm always like, about a decade. And now I'm like, oh, gosh, no, now it's 13.
Now it's more. It's a teenager, this site.
Yes.
So talk to me, where did the idea come from? And really, what's your background that kind of brought you into this?
Yeah. So I went to ASU for marketing. I didn't know what I was going to do with that degree, but I loved the consumer behavior aspect of marketing. And so I got an internship with a women's magazine at the time that was all digital. And so back in 2007, that was kind of,
That's huge.
A very unusual thing. Print was still very much alive and well. And so an online magazine was not, really well known yet. And I got this internship, thought I was just going to take this internship for class credit, didn't really take it too seriously.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. And then I realized, wow, I love the online publishing world because of all the data involved. And since I loved consumer behavior, you had all the data there to look at what were people reading, what are they clicking on. And so I found that really fascinating and just immediately fell in love with digital marketing and online publishing. And so thankfully I got a job there working and got to learn the ropes of, digital publishing. And that was, like I said, a national magazine. But after that, I went to a local magazine and kind of helped them make that transition from print to digital and grow that because that was back in 2008 when the economy wasn't doing great.
Yep.
And so the beauty of digital is that you were able to do lower price point options for advertising as opposed to, print pages, which were very expensive and, in the economy at that time, it was a little challenging for people to afford a full page print ad at that point.
Yeah.
So I had that opportunity of helping them build a online magazine to complement the print. And I fell in love with local businesses. It's just so much different than when I was working for the national magazine, because the national magazine we're working with, account executives for Target and Old Navy and P&G brands. And there wasn't, a passion behind it. Whereas when you work with the local businesses, it's, you're typically working with the business owners themselves. You get to hear why they started the business, their story, their passion behind it. So I just really fell in love with the local scene. And that's where Fabulous Arizona was kind of birthed, because I was like, I want to take the knowledge that I have from the national magazine, but also support these local businesses. That's something I'm really passionate about.
I think that the key timing for you was critical too, because you were talking about that 2008, 2009 timeframe was really dramatic and sad for the economy. Those small businesses specifically were hurting the most, there is something unique about small businesses here in Arizona.
Yes.
I, like you, we've kind of lived all over the U.S. and visited a lot of places. There's something just different. And I couldn't agree more. The small businesses is the backbone of our community here. They really support each other. And I, like you, love hearing that story, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I want to hear about your story, too. You started this idea in 2010. You had the knowledge. It came from your career, school, and everything like that. But 13 years later is what it took you to get to this point where now you have many publications all over the U.S. that we're going to talk about. I want to hear from you, Cynthia, because people see our success. They don't see the hard work. They don't see the tears. They don't see the late nights. They don't see the critical deadlines that we're meeting with literally 5 minutes left before it's not going to happen. Tell me about all that hard work, because that's really where the success comes from. And that's all people tend to focus on.
Yeah. And I think the two biggest things are persistence and consistency.
It's true.
It's because being persistent and pushing through those tough times is really how you can build something sustainable and long term. And the consistency. A lot of people, they get really gung-ho about an idea or something and they go, hard at it, and then they get tired and they slow down, or they're just not as consistent with it. That's the one thing that I have been, very, very good about, is like I have to maintain here, or otherwise it's not going to continue to grow.
Right.
So I worked a full-time job until 2015 while side hustling Fabulous Arizona.
Love it.
Then went full-time self-employed with that, and in 2015, and then in 2018, I believe, is when I launched Fabulous Wisconsin.
Okay.
Everyone's always like, why on earth Wisconsin? I'm originally from there. So
you went home. Easy.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll go crash with one of my cousins for a month and just see, like, is this viable in another state? Because my question was, my fear with launching another state was, does this work here only because of all the connections I have here, or is this a concept that would benefit other areas? And I got out there, and within the first week of being there, I had writers reaching out to me wanting to work with me. Every business was so excited. So I was like, okay, we've got something here, because I was able to show them, here's Fabulous Arizona. Right. This is what we've done in Arizona. We're trying to do the same thing here. And people were so excited for it. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then shortly, a month after that, I had 2 girls reach out to me from Iowa, asking me to launch Fabulous Iowa. So, because they saw Wisconsin go up, and they were like, we need something like this here. And so, so that's kind of how the growth started. And I was willing to go out to Wisconsin and say, you know what, it didn't work. I got to, reconfigure the plans and just focus on Arizona and make it as big as possible here in just Arizona.
Yeah. But
since that worked, I was like, okay, cool. And so now I've got this prototype that I can now duplicate in other, places. And so now we're up to 6 states, and,
that's huge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So tell me how that works. Can people come to you I'm from Georgia, so love this idea, or any other state that we have around here? People reach out to you. How do they become a fabulous state, whatever that fill in the blank is for them?
So there's a few things we consider when launching a state. So now we have California, Nevada, and Arizona, which they play very nice together.
Yes,
They're,
they do.
Feeder markets to each other. We have a lot of overlap in businesses that are in multiple states and, down here in the Southwest. So those made sense because we already had business connections of businesses to feature. And then we also had contributor connections. So we had people interested in contributing, because we not only need writers, we also need people with boots on the ground that can physically go into businesses to check them out, get social content. So we are looking for those 2 big things there is, do we have the people to contribute? Do we have the businesses to give us, content? So those are kind of the 2 main things that we're looking for when we're launching another state that, makes sense. So, so that's, Georgia's kind of,
it's far.
It's far. I don't necessarily have any connections there personally.
It's kind of specific to Georgia. It's like 2 different states. You have like Metro Atlanta, and then you have the rest of Georgia. It's kind of how it works. So that was just an example. But like we have so many people to live here, right? That from all over, from the Midwest. Yeah. So could you do something like Fabulous Chicago? Because that in and of itself is just, different.
So what we did is we've decided it's Arizona, so every other one has to be a state.
Perfect. Okay.
So I actually own the domains for every state. and took me quite a few years to get all of those and quite a bit of money actually. But now I officially own all of them, and I think there's one that I don't own, and there's some overseas company using it for a gambling website. So we're still trying to negotiate with them, but it's like a really random state. So, but we do have all of them. Obviously, somewhere like Illinois is going to be probably very primarily Chicago, but we try to make sure that we have contributors in every city. So like Wisconsin, for example, we've got someone in Madison, we've got someone in Milwaukee, and then they also will travel to other parts of the state.
Yeah.
So, here in Arizona, we have obviously Phoenix is the main focus, but we have someone down in Tucson now, and we have a lot of our writers go up to Flagstaff to cover Northern Arizona as well. In California, we've got someone in San Diego, we've got someone in LA, and then we've got someone up in the Bay Area.
Perfect.
So it's kind of like making sure that we can cover all of those. Yeah. A lot of people have asked me about Texas, and I'm like, they have 3 major markets, or 4 even.
Yeah, I would say 4.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of a beast. I mean, California was a little terrifying, but Texas, I feel like, is even more. So those are things that we have to consider.
So different.
They are, and that's why the people with boots on the ground are so important, because they can really give us a pulse on like what it's like there. So for example, our Midwest content varies a lot compared to, California and Arizona.
Yeah.
We might be talking about, steakhouses and wine tastings. And in, one of our most popular articles is like a farm, best farms to visit in, the Midwest. So, so it's like just understanding your audience in each space. But at the same time, we try to kind of keep it so that it's like, across the board, what to expect from a fabulous state. It's going to be things that are obviously fabulous in some way, whether that's it's something really unique, it's something, high end, it's something that makes, there's some, criteria that makes it fabulous in some way or another, whether it's a fabulous story or whatever it is.
I like that. Well, it goes back to that word consistency that you used at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because when people get used to that, that's what their expectations are. And if you try to take too many different avenues or too many different turns, you lose your path. You lose that consistency, and then you lose your clientele, your readers, your support system, which I think is huge when it comes to success. I'm sure you tried many different areas and paths when you started. What are some lessons that you could pass on to someone else that's trying to even just start something with an idea?
My biggest thing that I, looking back, that I wish I would have done sooner, done better or differently, is really getting like my systems and processes in place.
Yeah.
Kind of flying by the seat of my pants for so long, especially when you're doing it by yourself. Because I was alone. I mean, I didn't hire my first person until 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was kind of doing almost everything by myself for about 10 years. And it was a grind. And it's very scary. Honestly, going from 0 people to 1 is harder than going from 1 to 5 to 10.
Agreed.
So that was a very scary leap to make, and it was my baby. So, but it ended up happening so perfectly. That first hire, it was just divine timing, and it was meant to be. And so, but when you start bringing people on, you have to have everything that's in your head on paper somewhere and having processes in place. And even now, for the things that I do for the business, having all of these processes that I've created for the team make my job easier for just even the things I'm doing. So even if you're a one-man show, I think having those processes, whatever it is that you use, I honestly am like crazy about Google Drive, Google spreadsheets.
My business is Google.
Yeah, like my business lives in Google. We've got folders on folders and spreadsheets and all the things, but there's a very systematic process in place now where, everything's scheduled out. There is a process for everything. And, prior to having people on my team, I was just flying by the seat of my pants, just trying to remember everything in my head, which is not a good way to go. So that also ties back to the consistency piece, because when you have all these processes in place and have these systems and everything, it helps you stay consistent because you've got schedules, you've got routines, and it keeps that consistency a lot more easy to do and manageable.
That's one thing that I've learned too. When I started the podcast, and now I have Scottsdale City Lifestyle, the magazine, I was by myself, right? I know what goes on my mind. I know how my organization looks. And then when you bring in a team member, because you need that help, it's like, where's this information? It's like, well, it's under this folder. And they're like, well, that doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, my filing cabinet in my head. So it's like, you do have to find a system where everyone can work in it. And it's one of those things where, yes, I had one piece of paper for this information, then this one was on another Google Drive. It was just, get organized at the beginning. Like, that's the biggest key.
Yeah, because having to go back and do it after the fact was way, way more work.
So hard. It is so hard.
So if you from day one start documenting everything you're doing, even with we have so many like tutorial documents. And so it's like if I'm going in and uploading an article, I just am screenshotting every step I'm doing and throwing it in a Word document as a, step-by-step tutorial. If you do that for everything that you do, you're going to have those, things already in place. And it's great to just have for when you're ready to bring those people on. But even just doing schedules, I have everything scheduled out, all of our articles, all of our social posts, all of our newsletters. Everything is in a spreadsheet with a schedule. Everything's planned out. That makes so much, makes everything so much easier. And you can work and plan ahead.
I love that. And that's kind of how I start my Mondays. My Mondays is my like planning day where everything is, I make sure everything's scheduled out. And then Tuesday through Friday is just work kind of thing. So it's so nice. And it's how I sleep easy at night. I'm not stressed waking up from terror dreams. Oh my gosh, did I put that into the calendar? Like all of those kind of things. And I too have learned that lesson the hard way.
I know. And that's the thing is I'm always like, oh gosh, I, would love to give somebody this advice. But at the same time, I feel like we end up doing it the way we're going to do it. And we unfortunately most times have to learn it the hard way.
Always. I think that's the fun and that's where the success comes from is learning those hard lessons.
Yeah.
Going back and laughing at yourself and being like, what was I thinking or why did I do it that way?
Yeah.
That's where the success comes from. That's where the growth comes from. And that's where that you learn what works for you and for your business and for your readers or clientele or whatever you're starting kind of thing. Let's take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk about Fabulous Arizona. This was the baby. This was the kickoff. We're going to talk about everything fabulous in your mind in Scottsdale as well. So we'll be right back. When it comes to family-friendly dentistry, there's only one place in Scottsdale, and that's Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry. Teeth cleaning, innovative, pain-free laser dentistry, teeth whitening, root canals, and really any dental need you may have, Dr. Rob and his staff at Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry can handle it all. They're more than just a dentist, they really are family. We've been going there for over 3 years, and my family loves them. When your kids get excited to go to the dentist, you know you've got a good one. Dr. Rob DeVito is the only dentist in town that can handle it all. Give him a call at 480-990-1905. You can find him on the web at drdevito.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard him on the podcast. We're sitting here with Cynthia Sassi of Fabulous Arizona. Really fabulous everything with her. I love it. Let's talk. Fabulous Arizona was your baby. It's been around for 13 years. You said Fabulous Wisconsin in 2018 to Iowa, California, Nevada. Washington is on the list. Let's talk Arizona. What was the first thing that you wrote about on Fabulous Arizona? Do you even remember?
Oh my gosh. I don't know that I remember. I do know that trying to think of like even what time of year it was. I think it was spring training related.
That's a good start.
Yeah. And so, I already had a background in, local publishing.
Yeah.
So I kind of already had an idea of the type of content and had the contacts and everything. So thankfully I was already kind of on some people's lists for all the info on what's going on. But I think it was about spring training time that we started doing content.
Okay.
And or I started doing content on there, I should say. And so I think it was probably like dining deals or something for spring training or where to dine for spring training, something like that.
What makes Arizona so fabulous to you?
This is one of the reasons why I was like, I wanted to start this website because I feel like Arizona is all of the things in one place. Yes, it's hot in Phoenix in the summer, but you can drive a few hours north and it's, significantly cooler.
Yeah.
You get in the pine trees and you can go skiing and snowboarding. And, we've got like literally all types of different climates in one state. And then if you want to go see the beach, it's a 5-6 hour drive or a 45-minute flight to the beach. So I feel like you really kind of have everything at your fingertips. And then, Scottsdale in particular, we have all of the most amazing restaurants, resorts, like all the places that like LA and New York have, and we're even getting more.
Yeah.
But we don't have we have more accessibility of like, you can drive up and park at these places, that a lot of these
Simple
big cities
things.
don't have. So it's like we have the accessibility, but we have all these amazing things that other really big cities have.
Yeah. I love that. I tell everyone, so I've only been here for just over 4 years. It's a hidden gem, right? And I feel like more people have found it since they've like...
It's not so hidden anymore.
Right. It's grown a lot in 4
Yes.
years. I can only imagine what the future is. But I mean, when we were like, my husband got transferred here for his job and we were moving, I was like, really? Like Arizona, the desert? Oh my God, what are we getting into? And I was like, we love it here. And it has all of these unique things. We are the family that drives up to Flagstaff to go skiing every weekend and then come back down to Scottsdale, right? Like, you have everything. And then you can go south to Tucson and you have the wild, wild west out there. The history that's around Arizona, it really is fabulous. And I love that I love the accessibility. Yes, it's going to get busy for a little bit, but we have it year round and these people are just here temporary, our snowbirds and stuff. So be patient. Tell me, what are some of your favorite things to do here?
I love hiking, obviously. Yeah. I feel like the mountains here are just so pretty. Camelback, even in North Scottsdale, the McDowell Mountains, so pretty. So that's, the hiking's great. Obviously, this time of year, there's so many events going on. Yeah. And I'm like, October's my absolute favorite in Scottsdale because it's like the weather's cooling off and all the fall events. There's all the charity events. There's all the fashion weeks. So Scottsdale Fashion Week was earlier this month. Phoenix Fashion Week was last weekend. Arizona Fashion Week is happening this week and next week. And then we've got the polo party. And it's just so much fun stuff going on. Yeah. There's just really something you could do every night of the week.
Well, I was about to say, it's like one of those things I have to check my calendar and like say yes and no to certain things. And it's like, okay, I did that last year. I'm going to try something else this year, right? And you're like, I had so much fun last year, but like, let me try this. Yeah. It's a good problem to have, I'd say.
It is. There's no lack of things to do this time of year, for sure.
I love it. What are you looking forward to next? What's next for Fabulous Cynthia, I should say?
Well, we're excited on the Fabulous brand to be moving in the holidays. It's always my favorite time of year with content. There's just so much fun stuff coming up. We have our gift guides and then we've got, all the holiday events and activities that we cover. So that's super fun. We always love November and December on the website.
I love it.
Yeah.
Before we leave and I let you go back to being awesome and busy, being successful, what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe, Cynthia?
What do you mean by vibe?
Like, I know this is everyone.
Sorry.
That's okay. What is your favorite thing about Scottsdale? Like, Scottsdale has a great vibe. It's unique. So what's your favorite Scottsdale vibe here?
I think it goes back to that, like what I said earlier, just the vibe of like, we have the best of the best here, but it's so accessible. And it's, it's just such a great, easy place to live. And you have everything that you could want at your fingertips.
I love it. Well, you can find out more about Fabulous Arizona at fabulousarizona.com. She's everywhere on social media at Fabulous Arizona and at Cynthia Sassi. Again, all of this is in the description of this episode. You can also check out this podcast episode on our YouTube channel where you get to see us chatting and having fun all over social media. And don't forget to check out every new edition of Scottsdale City Lifestyle Magazine, just another place to find out more what's going on. This is why it's so important Cynthia and us work together, because it's all about bringing awareness to what's going on. And the more people that know, the more we can continue to support our small businesses and each other.
And our community.
Yes. Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your huge success. I'm so happy to be with you in this journey.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. We'll come back with some calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Thank you, Cynthia Sassi, and all you do to make Fabulous Arizona what it is today. And go check it out, fabulousarizona.com, for anything that's going on. But this week, I have some fun calendar events for you. The Canal Convergence is going on this week, so don't forget, it's happening November 4th through 13th on the waterfront in Old Town. This is a free event that's a great night of fun. It's a one-of-a-kind. Art pours into our city from all over the world, and this year's theme is Power of Play and Art. The Lululemon 10K in Scottsdale is happening, so registration's still going on. You can go do it. It's from starts and stops at the Scottsdale Civic Center and runs along the Scottsdale waterfront. A beautiful view, and of course, it's going to be gorgeous weather. It's Scottsdale. It's our best season yet. And you can get, afterwards, you get a post-race amenities, including yoga, meditation, and even a post-race treat to go along with your t-shirt and medal. And a huge thank you to all of our veterans out there. November 11th is Veterans Day, and Scottsdale will not miss it. We are going to celebrate it at the Scottsdale Civic Center from 10:30 a.m. to noon with the profound and heartfelt Scottsdale's Veteran Day commemoration. They'll come together to honor the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans. The significant event promises to be a moving tribute to those who have defended our freedom. Thank you to all that have served and continue to serve for our country to make my life and freedom easy and fun. So thank you so much, everyone out there. And thank you, Scottsdale, for continuing to tune in each week. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast listening app. Tune in on our YouTube page to see the full video of each week's episode, along with clips from each episode. And of course, don't forget to find your edition of Scottsdale City Lifestyle, another way that we're bringing all the great things to Scottsdale in your city and to your home. Have a great week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.